guys, I thought I would pop on and give you a little Gabapentin update, and hopefully you won't mind this thing still going. This is my Cephaly. I use this when I've got a headache, when I've got the headache part of the migraine. It works pretty well on that. It doesn't do anything for my migraine, so for the dizziness, the extreme fatigue, the kind of confusion, all of that, it doesn't do anything for that, but it does work pretty well when I've got a headache. So today I feel like, well, just in the last couple of hours, I've had a headache and not a migraine, if that makes any sense at all. It will make sense, I think, to a lot of migraine sufferers, because it's, as I always say, it's not just about the headache. And for me, the most debilitating part of a migraine is not the headache. It is usually the dizziness and the kind of weakness. It's not fatigue, it's weakness, because it's like I feel like too weak to get off normally this sofa that I'm on. Anyway, I haven't done an update for 2 months on Gabapentin, and there's been quite a change, and I am still on it, which I think will probably surprise you, because I was sort of at my wit's end last time I spoke to you guys. Last time I spoke to you, you may remember, I had been on it for 2 months. I had been constantly playing around with the dose, and I felt like I needed to be maybe more consistent, but I was just struggling so much with the side effects. It was making me feel drunk a lot of the time, and not in a good way. I'm not somebody that enjoys being drunk anyway, but you know, it wasn't a good merry drunk. It was just, I can barely walk drunk. And so again, I was on the sofa, and okay, I had a bit of a less of a pain in my head, but I was still unable to function, you know, so it was really frustrating me. But I really wanted to try and give Gabapentin everything I had. Like, I was desperate, because for a couple of reasons. One, because it was kind of almost my last ditch attempt. There's a couple of other drugs that on the list that I can try, but they're all pretty horrific, you know, and similar types of drugs. The next one that I was going to try was a similar type of drug, so I'd probably have the same kind of issues with it. So that was one of the reasons I really wanted to give this a shot, because I could feel that there was some difference. I was definitely getting some improvement if I could just get over these side effects. So I really wanted to try it for that. But the other big reason was that I was not only taking this for migraine, I've been having problems with insomnia from the menopause for a long time now. Tried HRT, I've tried patches, etc., and they all exacerbate my migraines. They just make them so much worse. So that's a no for me for now. But the insomnia was bad, and I was getting hot flushes during the night as well. They call it night sweat, so I didn't generally sweat. I just felt like I was in an oven and would wake up and have to throw the covers off. So I really wanted some help with that. And I was also having pain in my feet, which I don't know whether it was to do with the menopause or they've said it's neuropathy, so just some kind of nerve damage. But my feet were so painful at night. It was like they were on fire. My cool mat helped a little bit. So I started taking the Gabapentin for that as well. It just happens that that was the drug that would cover it all. And it has been working pretty well for the foot pain. I've never had, I think since taking it, I've never had any nights where I can't sleep because of it. It's still there a little bit, but not too bad at all. You know, it's gone down to, I can kind of fall asleep. I can put my feet on my cool mat, and then it's okay. The insomnia, it seemed to work pretty well at the 600 milligrams I was taking at night. And I've had a few sort of blips in that over the last few weeks where I've been awake at like 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. I knew that there would be an issue with Gabapentin with breakthrough pain, because Gabapentin, it doesn't stay in your system very long. And so you tend to find that like a couple of hours before you're due it, you'll get breakthrough pain or whatever your particular pain is. So it's worked pretty well for me for other things, which is, like I said, another reason why I really wanted to try and give it as long as I could. But I was getting really down about those, you know, just feeling so awful every day, just in a different way. And I was saying to Kev, okay, I don't feel so migraine-y, but I'm still not able to function. So I'm really getting depressed about this, you know. And he was like, right, why don't you just take it for another month? Which seemed like a lot. I was like, oh, really? Another month? And he's like, but go up to the 300 milligrams that I was originally prescribed. I've talked to my pharmacist every time I've changed the doses, by the way. I'm not just randomly doing it. But he said, why don't you go up to the 300, which is, like I said, the original dose I was on that was just too much. And then I reduced to 200, then I reduced to 100. And he's like, take 300 in the morning, take 300 at lunchtime. Do that for a month. And then if I'm still not past the side effects, I think at the time I increased it to 300, I was taking 200 in the morning and 100 at lunchtime. If I'm not over the side effects, then you can say, you know, you've tried everything and it didn't work for you. So I was like, you know what, that's a good idea. Let me just do that, because it's no different from me not being able to cope with my migraine or not being able to live and do anything with my migraine. So why not? I might as well do that. Thankfully, the tramadol was still working for me. Not all the time, but it was working for me on the days I could take it. So that's what I did. And about, I don't know whether it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks into it, it is like, it's like a switch went on or off, I suppose you could say, in terms of the side effects. And all of a sudden, I didn't feel the side effects. I was taking 300, and I am still taking, well, up until yesterday, I was taking 300 milligrams in the morning, 300 milligrams at lunchtime, and 600 milligrams at night. And yeah, all of a sudden, no side effects. So fantastic. In terms of how it was helping my migraine, there's two, I suppose you could say, complications. One, I'm getting more headaches, hence the Cephalene. I rarely used the Cephalene before, because it was only when I had a headache without the migraine, the dizziness and the confusion and all of that this would work. But I started having more headaches, and it seems to be when I stop one dose and I'm due the next dose. So it's that breakthrough pain. That's what's happening. It's weird that it's coming through as a breakthrough headache rather than a migraine, but it is what it is. So more headaches, and quite severe headaches as well, that, you know, quite severe migraine headaches. And what was the other weird thing? Well, the other thing is not so weird. It's just that for my migraines, it's improved my quality of life. I can tell you that a lot. But it's not taken me to the level where I can live life normally. So for example, when I had my migraine, most of the days I was sitting on the couch, and the most I could manage was colouring. I would normally make Watson's enrichment game, because all I needed to do was manage to get to the fridge and get some pork, and then I got the games and everything I needed here, and I could sit here and do it, and I could do it very slowly. I could do it in my own time. That's pretty much it. That's all I would do on a day I had a migraine. There's different levels for me, and sort of a level above that is I could do a little bit of light housework, you know. A level above that would be I could manage to drive my car and maybe go to the shops and get some groceries. Like at the top would be managing to sit at my computer and edit videos, film videos, what else? Listen to music, you know, have phone calls with people and not be noise sensitive. That kind of thing would be right at the top. And it got to a stage, and it has been at a stage for a long time, where I really have only been able to sit and do nothing other than on the tramadol days. This has taken me to a place where I can do like light housework. I can cook dinners, which I've been really enjoying and hadn't been able to do for a long time. I've just literally chuck something from the freezer in the air fryer or whatever, because Kev gets home quite late. But I've been really enjoying actually cooking us proper dinners. And so that's been huge, that in itself, you know, because I can make myself healthy food. I can make us dinner, and I'm enjoying it as well. I'm not, you know, even when I was chucking something in the air fryer, it was literally like dragging myself to try and make something, you know, because like I said, Kev doesn't get home until 7:30 sometimes, and I was starving by then. And being hungry is not good for a migraine, you know. So that's been a huge help. I can I can sometimes manage to drive to the shops and do the groceries. It happened four Fridays in a row. So Fridays is normally a day I don't take any tramadol, because I just sort of sit here and make up games ready for the weekend and kind of plan things for the weekends. Sometimes if I've got enough energy, I'll try to make us some sandwiches. But my ideal Friday was to go back to the Friday I used to have, which was I would get all the groceries done on a Friday, so we didn't have to do them at the weekend. So normally we'd do them on the way home at the weekend, on the way home from our walk. One of us would stay in the car with Watson, the other one would go in and do the groceries. But it's great if you don't have to do that, you know, if you've just got your weekend to yourself. And so I used to love doing it on a Friday. You know, I'd have a right good look around Sainsbury's, and normally go to Sainsbury's and M&S, you know, because Asda we get delivered. I know it's ridiculous going to 3 different places, but I am that fussy. I'm not going to do my whole food shop from Marks and Spencer's. It's too expensive. There's certain things I can get from Sainsbury's and certain things I can get from M&S. And then the stuff we get from Asda is all the heavy stuff. So like bottles of water, some Diet Coke, laundry, you know, fabric softener, laundry tablets, all that kind of thing. This has just stopped, by the way. It normally makes a little noise, but I can tell it's actually stopped. I'm going to take it off because it really starts to itch your head. And what I've been doing lately, because I've been using this Cephally so much, is I've stopped. Sorry, you're going to see my head's going to go bright red, but it's just from me itching it. I've stopped doing my makeup on my forehead. And it serves 2 purposes. One, I can use my Cephally, because you have to obviously take any makeup off and then use an alcohol wipe and stick the Cephally on, otherwise it won't stick. And so it's useful. I just don't put any foundation there. I do everything else from eyebrows down, but I've just not been putting any foundation on my head. But it also means that my beanies, I've got a lovely cream beanie, and that's not getting makeup on it, you know, so it's quite useful. And I thought, oh, this will be great for winter. And I don't think you can notice it too much. It'll be hard to tell now because it's all red, but you know, it's not, I don't think it's that noticeable. What was I saying? Yeah, these levels. So yeah, I did it a few Fridays. I went to do the groceries. I managed, and it was one of those where I'd say to Kev, right, okay, I'm going to try and do the groceries on Friday, but it's a non-tramadol day, so we'll see if I can manage it. But I managed to go about 3 Fridays in a row, and on the 4th one, I said to Kev, I said, I feel like I'm at the point now I can say to you, I'm going to do the groceries on Friday, even though it's a non-tramadol day, and that is just a flipping miracle, you know. Now, typically that happened, and then the following Friday I felt too ill and couldn't do it, but that's okay, you know. 4 out of 5 is brilliant, 4 out of 6 even is brilliant. And that seemed like I was really getting somewhere, but it was still, the improvement wasn't getting any better. And it was only on that Friday that I seemed to be able to, by some miracle, manage to do stuff. On the other days in the week that I didn't take my tramadol, it wasn't really helping. I was just, you know, lying on the couch. I don't know whether it was just a fluke that it happened to be a Friday, that it worked for those 4 Fridays. And so since then, it's really up and down. Some days I am just only able to do a little bit around the house. And other days, fewer other days since then, but it's working sometimes. God, I know I'm rambling. I know I always ramble, but hopefully it makes some sort of sense to you. Today is tramadol day, by the way, although I'm noticing tramadol's probably out of my system by now, and I'm noticing my voice is loud. It's not bothering me as much as usual, though. Usually it'd be painful to myself, and I'm like, my own voice is the worst, you know. I'll tell Kev to be quiet, but I'm also like, oh my God, why am I talking so loud, you know? With that happening, I did a consultation an online consultation to the GP, and I did that on Monday, and I just said, look, you know, I'm on this 300. I'm finally okay with the side effects. I would like to start increasing, because the dose I'm on is actually low in terms of the dose you can take. You can take 4 times the dose that I'm taking. Obviously, I want to be on the lowest effective dose. I don't want to be on a massive amount. But I started to think about that, and I was like, there's at least 4 more opportunities for me to feel better on this, you know. And now I know I can get over the side effects. It took 4 months, would you believe? You know, I never, my physiotherapist that I went to see, the NHS one, he said, just be patient, it could take months. I never dreamed that after 4 months, it would suddenly all click in and I'd have no side effects. I literally have no side effects. I don't feel at all like I've taken anything. Actually, I was eating a lot when I first took the 300 as well, and that's gone away, thankfully. The only thing I did notice, like I said, is these increased headaches, but they had started to even dissipate in the last week or so. So I thought, well, you know what, let me see if taking more might help more with the headaches, because like I said, I'm on a very low dose, but I don't want to increase by 300. I don't want to just, you know, double it and be all over the place. In a way, that would be better, because you'd just be, you know, if I could just be patient with it. But it's like, am I going to have to wait another 4 months to get over that? I suppose for the 4 months I wasn't on the 300 milligrams of gabapentin. I was really only on that when it kicked in for a couple of weeks, but I'd been on it, you know, I was so up and down, I can't really tell how long it would take on the 300. But anyway, I did this GP consultation and said, look, this is what I'm on. I'm not seeing my neurologist until January now. It's working a little bit for the migraine. Do you think it would be okay to increase it? You know, what are your thoughts, kind of thing? And she came back and said, that's totally reasonable to increase slowly. So take another 100 milligrams. So from yesterday and today, I am taking another 100 milligrams. So I'm taking 400 milligrams in the morning, 400 milligrams at lunchtime, and 600 milligrams at nighttime. I was tempted to ask to take some more at nighttime because I think another 100 milligrams would help, but I just want to see if the sleep kind of evens out and focus on the migraine at the moment, you know. So yesterday was a non-tramadol day, and I took my 400 milligrams, and I've just remembered something I did that may have helped that I didn't do yesterday, that I must change my tablets up. What I did was, instead of taking my bisoprolol, which is a beta blocker, and I take it for blood pressure and heart rate, instead of taking it in the morning, I would take it at sort of mid-morning, so that it was a separate time to the gabapentin. I wonder if that helped. I might do that tomorrow when I won't be taking any gabapentin. When I won't be taking any tramadol, sorry. Anyway, yesterday I started the 400, and yesterday I just felt, it was back to feeling the side effects, even though it was only 100 milligrams. I really did not think I would notice it. And I thought, well, now I've conquered this 300. I felt pretty sure I was going to be okay on the 400, or that I'd feel slightly tired or something like that. But I just felt really rough for the day, and I couldn't figure out. I was saying to Kev, I don't know. It feels kind of migraine-y, but that real fatigue, and I had a headache. I had a bad headache in the afternoon yesterday, actually, which showed me that it was the gabapentin causing these extra headaches. It's sometimes borderline like a migraine. It's sometimes hard to differentiate between a migraine and the gabapentin effect with a headache, you know. So I wasn't sure what happened yesterday, but today, because I've taken the tramadol, I'm absolutely fine. So I've only had one day. So I don't know what's going to happen now. We'll see. And part of me was thinking, you know what? I barely did anything yesterday. Perhaps I should have just gone for the 300 increase, because I think if I hadn't have asked to do it really slowly, I'd have got given another 300, because that's generally what they do. Well, they do. It depends on the GP. That's what my GP does. That's why I started on the 300, but really I'd wish I'd have started on a lower dose. So yeah, we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic, because even at 300 milligrams, I feel like I might be on the road to a recovery. I feel like I might be on a long road to recovery. You know, there's part of me thinking that even at 300 milligrams, although I couldn't do everything, there was such an improvement that it's like, well, I think like kind of like muscle memory. Do you know what I mean? I've been ill for so long. I've been sitting on the sofa for so long. It's almost like I need to get out of, not the habit, but I need to teach my body that it's now safe to get on with life, and just kind of almost do these things. It's difficult because I'm not going to get in the car and drive if I don't feel 100%, you know. And I'm not going to go to a yoga class. I haven't been to a yoga class for a long time. I'm not going to do exercise and go to the gym and whatnot. Well, to go to the gym, I'd need to drive, and same with yoga. But I'm not going to go to a yoga class if I think I'm going to fall over or injure myself, you know. So, yeah, it's tricky, but it's kind of that, what's it called? Pain reprocessing therapy thing, where you're teaching your body that you're safe. And yeah, I've had these migraines. I mean, I was officially diagnosed 20 plus years ago, but I've had them bad and different, because when I first had them, it was a headache, and I used to get it at 2 o'clock every afternoon. It would last the rest of the day, and then it was gone. And I got that like a couple of times a week. Whereas these migraines I've had since I left the NHS. So it's 4, 7, 8 years. And I've had them daily for about 3 or 4 years. So even if you take since having them daily, for 3 or 4 years, I have really not done very much. And it won't look like that if you look at Instagram and you look at my videos, because I filmed videos and edited videos, but obviously a lot less than I used to. And Instagram, you know, I'm going for walks with Watson every weekend, but that was pretty much all I was doing at the weekend, because I would take my tramadol and that would cover me. And I don't take more than 1 dose generally. I could do, but it's complicated why I don't, just because it's difficult enough to get my tramadol, and my chemist always gets my prescription wrong, and you can't just get it on a repeat prescription tramadol. So it's a process to get it, you know, and they're really cautious of giving it to you as it is. So, you know, I've not been doing much, and so I need to get back into the habit of living, basically. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty optimistic whether or not the 400 milligrams changes anything. So we'll see. I started it yesterday, like I said, so I just need to wait until the 15th of November. She's given me, the GP said she sent a prescription across to the pharmacist. We'll see, because like I said, this, honestly, it's a joke how many times it's been wrong and how wrong they get it. I actually walked away with somebody else's prescription once. I could not believe it when I opened the bag and looked at it, and I was like, you know, they do all that, checking your address and everything, and then inside it I've got somebody else's prescription with half of my prescription. It's so bad. Anyway, that was to do with the chemist, not the GP, but between the chemist and the GP are both really bad. And you'll say, oh, just go to another one. It's not that simple. I need to go one that's got parking. Well, that's the biggest thing, and I don't want it to be too far away, you know. So this is really the only one that I've got that I can get parking at. I tried to switch it to picking up the prescription myself from the GPs and then going across and taking it to the pharmacy. There's no parking at the GPs either. It's not a walk away. It doesn't work. Like, literally, when you change it on the system, they still send it across, and so you end up going to the GP, and it's like, well, it's not gone here, it's gone to the chemist, and you're like, it's just an absolute nightmare trying to get my prescriptions and trying to get them right. But yeah, I've started yesterday because I already had some 100 milligrams, so I was able to quickly top it up, you know, with having the GP saying, yes, do that. So I'll give it the month. She's given me a month's prescription, and she says, see how you're doing then. And I think that should be enough. I think the fact that my system's fairly used to the 300 milligrams, it should be okay with a further 100 milligrams. And if that's making a difference, I'm happy to try 2 more jumps, so that maybe I'm on 600 milligrams, or maybe I won't need to. I don't know. The pain of it all is the tablet taking. Honestly, I wish I could find a way around this, and I always get suggestions on this. You know, a lot of people say to me, oh, well, you know, try it with warm water, or try it with milk, or try it with this, or try it with that. The way I take tablets is I eat something and I put the tablet in and then swallow it. So I'll eat some nuts, or really small ones I can do with yogurt. Really tiny tablets, like my blood pressure, well, yeah, my blood pressure one and the beta blocker one, tiny tablets I can take with water. Sometimes it's a psychological thing. I think I'm going to choke, and it will not go down. And I've only had 1 session of hypnotherapy for that, and it didn't work at all. I need to look into that more, because I had hypnotherapy for giving up smoking twice and it didn't work. And then I got a CD and listened to it, and that's how I gave up smoking. And that's how both Kev and I gave up smoking, which was really wild, because he didn't want to give up smoking. He was like, no, I really enjoy smoking, but I'll listen to the CD with you. And then he never smoked again, and neither did I, so that was good. So, and I had 1 session of hypnotherapy to try and get over this not being able to swallow tablets, because the reason it's really a pain is I have to carry food on me everywhere. I always carry nuts on me, so that when, you know, if I need to take tablets, if I need to take pain relief, if I need to take anxiety relief, whatever I need to take, I've got something on me that I can take these tablets with. So it's normally I carry a little thing of nuts with me. It's also a pain because it means I couldn't do intermittent fasting, for example. That's something I'd love to do, but I've always had tablets that I need to take in the morning and evening, and so there's no way of doing it. What else? What was the other thing? Oh, I think just now, if I do take if I go on this higher dose, or I'm on this higher dose, but even imagine I then go up to 500, I've then got to take an extra couple of tablets in the morning, and I've now got this lunchtime dose as well, which is at least 2 tablets, may become 3. And so it's eating a lot of food. Oh, my tumble dryer is making a funny noise. I'm not sure what I think about that. It's just now and again. Yeah, so that's a real pain, and I just don't know. I don't know what else I can do. I think maybe try another hypnotherapy is the only thing I can think of. Try another hypnotherapy session. And I wish I could find somebody that specialised in that. You know, I mean, that in itself is a problem, but because the amount of therapies that have been suggested to me, I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but the amount of things that have been suggested to me to go to a therapist, and it's like, well, like somebody said, find a, not a psychotherapist, a psychoanalyst, which is really it's really helpful. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about that. I'm saying it's really helpful. But what's really difficult is firstly to find a psychoanalyst. I haven't been able to find one that I could actually get to. But also you need, when you're going to see a psychoanalyst, and they even said that specialises in something or other, and I was like, or in a good one, you know, and I found 2 that I could potentially go to, but there was no parking and it's miles away. So it needs to be on a day that I can drive. And generally, like I said, I'm only allowed to take pain relief 3 days a week. 2 of those are at the weekend. That leaves me 1 day during the week. And so on that 1 day, I've got to like do some filming. Like I've said before, this is really the only income I have. Do some editing. I need to do all the things that I need to do. So washing, ironing, housework, looking after Watson, you know, ordering his food and medications. Everything that I need to do needs to be done in the time that I have some healthy time. So that might change a bit. I feel like I can actually start to plan things. Like I said, I feel like this Friday, I am planning on going grocery shopping, and it won't be a Tramadol day. It's a Gabapentin. You know, it's just Gabapentin. So hopefully I won't be too tired to drive, you know, I won't be too fatigued to drive. So that's enough of me rambling, I think. Hopefully you've kind of stuck with me. I was always a rambler, wasn't I? I can't blame the drugs on that or anything. In fact, it probably gets worse. Kev was saying that he's noticed me being more chatty in the last few weeks. He said it's like it's back to how it was before, where you never shut up, which is really good, because that's the thing. I've been so quiet because it's the only thing that helps when you've got a migraine, you know. Noise sensitivity was huge for me, and I think Kev might have asked me once and said, well, if you don't have a headache, how have you got noise sensitivity? Because what that means is that when your migraine headache is really bad, it's like somebody's crushing your head. It's like there's a knife in your eye and you just want to be in the dark, you know, light sensitivity, or for me anyway, this is how it is, and kind of just lying there hoping the pain's going to go away, you can't bear it, you know, that kind of thing. But when it's at the noise sensitivity level for me, it means that as long as there is no noise at all, I don't have a pain in my head. But I really, like the sound of the kettle hurts my head when I've got really bad noise sensitivity. So you can't do anything. You know, if you move things around, if I put the remote down like that, that would hurt, you know, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's really tricky. I don't know if this video is even going to transfer to my computer. Normally I do it in lots of little videos, and I've done it in one. Anyway, we shall give it a go. Thank you very much for listening to me, and thank you for all your support and suggestions. I always appreciate your suggestions. Even if it's something I've tried, I'll just tell you, yes, I've tried that, you know, but I always welcome any new suggestions. So thank you so much, and I will speak to you again soon.